Let us talk about some of the reasons that most humans love to watch and listen to the sound of a flowing river. Just like the last time you sat near a river, maybe you were not even trying to relax. You were just there for one or two reasons, and at some point you noticed you had been staring at the water far longer than you intended, and you were not even thinking about anything. Almost every one of us have experienced this kind of moment in the past. It can happen while getting past a stream on a hike, or a river that flows through the city park, even a fountain doing a small version of the same thing. There is something in that experience that attracts humans, just like iron been attracted to magnet. The interesting part is how little effort it takes. You don't decide to enjoy a river the way you might decide to enjoy a good meal or a good conversation. It just happens and your mind flows with it. Then you'll discover that your shoulders dropped a little lower and your thoughts get quieter. Most people will never ask why they feel that way, because it doesn't feel like something that needs an explanation. But the reasons underneath it turn out to be a mix of old biology, basic physics, and how your brain handles attention. Let's start with the sound of the flow, because that is usually the first thing that reaches you before you even see the water. A flowing river does not make one note. The sound comes from thousands of tiny collisions layered on top of each other, water against rock, or against itself, or against the riverbank. Researchers who study sound call this kind of noise broadband, meaning it covers a wide range of frequencies at once, instead of a single tone. White noise machines and rain apps are built to copy exactly this quality. Your brain is built to notice sudden changes in sound, like a snapping branch or a voice calling your name. Anything that could mean danger or new information. A river does not do any of that. It is steady across the whole range of frequencies, so there is nothing sharp for your attention to snag on. Instead of pulling your focus outward, the sound gives your brain something to rest against. It is not empty silence, which some people actually find unsettling. It is full, and it is also evenly balanced. That evenness is also why river sound is so good at covering up other noise. Traffic, a nearby conversation, the hum of your own thoughts, all of it gets softened when it's layered under the wash of a moving water. This is the same principle behind sound machines used in offices and bedrooms. A river is just the original version, doing it for free, with no need to be plugged in. Now add the visual side, because a river isn't just something you hear. It's something you look at, and the appearance of the water matters more than you think. Water moving over rocks and around bends creates a pattern called a fractal, a shape that repeats itself at different sizes. A small eddy current looks something like a bigger eddy current nearby. Zoom in or out, and the basic structure remains the same. Fractals show up everywhere in nature, not just rivers. It shows up in clouds, coastlines, tree branches, and the veins in a leaf. Physicist Richard Taylor, at the University of Oregon, has spent years studying how people respond to these patterns, using eye tracking and brain scans. His research found that looking at natural fractals can lower measured stress by a significant amount, and that the effect shows up almost immediately, without anyone consciously trying to relax. The idea behind this is that human vision evolved surrounded by fractal patterns. For nearly all of human history, the visual world was rivers, trees, hills, and clouds, not straight lines and flat walls. Taylor's theory, sometimes called fractal fluency, suggests our visual system is simply good at processing these shapes. They are complex enough to hold attention, but not so chaotic that they demand hard concentration. The mind feels some kind of relaxation when looking at fractals because it doesn't require much effort. When your mind finds something interesting and not demanding of attention, it has a name in psychology. Researchers Rachel and Stephen Kaplan called it soft fascination, part of what they termed attention restoration theory. According to them, a focused, effortful attention, the kind you use at work or while driving, gets tired over the course of a day. Soft fascination is different. It holds your interest gently, without asking anything of you, and that is what allows the tired kind of attention recover. A river fits that description almost perfectly. It moves, so there is always something to watch, which keeps you from getting bored, but it never moves in a way that requires tracking or predicting, the way a sport or a conversation does. You can watch a river for as long as you want and never feel like you have to keep up with it. That is a fairly rare kind of stimulus. Most things either bore us quickly or demand our full attention. A river does none of that. There is also a more simple and older reason that rivers pull us in, and it has nothing to do with sound or fractals. For most of human history, water meant survival. Fresh water was where you drank, where animals came to drink, where plants grew thicker, where a settlement could actually last. Being near a river wasn't just pleasant, it was one of the clearest signs available that a place was safe to stay. Marine biologist Wallace J. Nichols did a research on the effect that rivers create on the human mind. He found out that there is a mildly calm and reflective state of mind that many people feel when they are close to a body of water, whether it's a river, a lake, or an ocean. He was careful to say this is not a universal effect because floods happen and some people have bad memories involving water. None of that feels calming. But in safe conditions, being close to a river can make humans feel comfortable in a noticeable way. Scientists are still debating exactly how much of the effect comes from evolution versus simple familiarity. Some of it may just be that most of us grew up near water in some form and quietly associate it with relaxation. The full picture is probably a mix of all these things, not one clean cause. What is easier to say for certain is what a river does not do. It does not ask you to respond to it. It does not notify you, interrupt you, or wait for your reply. In a normal day, almost everything around you is built to grab your attention on purpose: apps, adverts, conversations, deadlines. A river is one of the few common things left that simply keeps happening whether or not you are paying attention to it, and that turns out to be a form of relaxation for the human mind. There is also something in the fact that a river is never exactly the same twice, but it is never surprising either. The water moving past you right now is different from the water that was there a second ago, but the pattern, the sound, and the general shape of it stays recognizable. Psychologists sometimes point to this kind of predictable variation as part of what makes something soothing to watch. Enough change to stay interesting, but not enough to feel unstable. This might be part of why rivers show up so often in the places people go to think. Writers' cabins near streams, meditation retreats built beside water, even hospital gardens designed around a small artificial brook. Nobody needed a study to notice the pattern. The research mostly caught up to something people already knew from experience, that a little moving water changes the texture of a space. None of this means a river does magic, or that watching one will fix a hard week. It is a fairly ordinary experience, and most of what makes it pleasant comes down to fairly ordinary explanations. Sound that does not spike, patterns your eyes process easily, a mild sense of safety built up over a very long evolutionary history. But ordinary doesn't necessarily mean small. A lot of what actually helps people feel calmer day to day is exactly this kind of low effort and unglamorous thing. So the next time you find yourself standing by a river and just watching the water go by, you don't have to treat it as some deep mystical moment. It is your brain doing something that it was genuinely built to enjoy doing. It's having an interesting experience without the requirement for attention. That is not a small thing. It is just a quiet one, which might be exactly why most humans love the experience.